the chosen generation. Nah. We are the chosen generation. That didn't sound good. We are the chosen generation. No. Clearly I can't sing. Welcome guys to my YouTube channel. My name is Eves I. I'm an actress, host, and a model. If this is your first time, please don't forget to do 3 things: like, subscribe, and share. I just wanted to share my story with dealing with this particular issue that I will be addressing. I just hope that through this video someone may be touched and someone may be able to carry through. It's not an easy topic, but I've decided that I'm confident enough to discuss my story dealing with fear, panic attacks, and anxiety. This topic is very dear to me since I've been battling with this for so many years, and finally I have found peace with myself, and I have to give this situation a tender touch because I know what it feels like and I can also relate. So I'll talk about fear. Fear is an emotional feeling that one may feel that they're feeling threatened, attacked. Some fear is even imagined. That's how fear is. Now, I'll tell you my experience with fear. I don't know why I'm scared of a situation, and I know that I'm not supposed to be fearful of that situation, but it's like, for instance, like I want to do something, but I fear that maybe the results may bring me nowhere, and fear that maybe if I chase after my dreams, maybe it'll end up, like maybe all the things I'm imagining maybe not come true. Or maybe if I ask somebody to do something for me, I fear that maybe the person's gonna say no. But that's the kind of fear that I was dealing with. When it comes to anxiety, worrying, I worry about the future. I'm not supposed to be doing these things. Yeah, I worry about the future. Maybe I worry about the people around me. When are they gonna pass away? Like my anxiety is horrible. Like I worry about, like, maybe what am I gonna do the next 10 years? What if I become somebody, like what if I'm doing these things and like it doesn't end me up where I need to end up? So all these fears cause so much attacks, and then it leads me to panic attacks, and then these panic attacks that I experience are so bad that once I was able to overcome panic attacks, I believe I became a whole different person. Panic attacks I was experiencing were a choking feeling, like I felt like I couldn't breathe. Like whenever I'm about to do something, let's say something exciting in my life, then I get panic attacks. Or if I'm under pressure, or if I'm really looking forward to something great, I start to get panic attacks. I start to feel like I'm choking. I'll tell a story from where my panic attacks started. I didn't know they were panic attacks, but they are. My whole panic attack started when I was 13. I remember being in high school, and one day in my room, just randomly, I was laying on my bed. It was like I was going through hard times. I was a very stubborn child, so I was starting to feel overwhelmed by all these things that are happening in my life. I felt like I was coming to a point in my life where all my friends, I'll do something with them and then they'll like turn their backs against me. So I started to feel a certain way, like that I should have never felt, especially at that age of 13. So I remember just laying on my bed, just laying there, and all of a sudden my first panic attack happened. I felt like I was out of my body. I felt like an out of body experience. I felt like I didn't feel like I felt like I was gonna die. It was really bad, and I'm like trying to open my eyes to see if I can escape from my body, or like maybe my spirit will leave me. And I think the worst was when I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was gonna, go crazy, and I was like, oh my God, am I about to die at this time in my life on my bed, and my mom and dad will not know, and they just probably thought like maybe, and already like my brother had passed away a few years before that situation. So I just was afraid. The panic attack just put me into a mode where it's like I felt like I was gonna die and I was gonna leave my body, and that's a panic attack. And I remember it continuously happened. Thinking about it brings me back to that part in my life I just don't want to think about. but I have to express it because each time I talk about it, I feel powerful. I feel like a conqueror. I feel like I've overcome this. And I believe that it was all through a purpose that I had to go through that in my life. And I remember that after that first panic attack, it continued. I would be in the shower, then I'll have the panic attack. Like I felt like I was out of my body. The worst one was when I was in school and I had the panic attack. My friend was talking to me. She's like, Evelyn, Evelyn, Evelyn. And I did not hear what she said until she's like, Evelyn, you look like you're about to die. And I'm like, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I'm going to die. And I didn't know what I was dealing with. I didn't express this to my parents. I didn't, the thing about the Ghanaian culture, or let me say, the thing about my culture, or let me say where I'm from, it's really weird. Like it's like it's not a norm. Like a lot of things are looked down upon, and so I want to make sure that when people who can relate, that certain things are looked like if you are going through something, it's just not normal. Like for instance, there's a lot of situations that are let's say not normal in an African home. Like if you do certain things, like you can get over it, you must pray, you must ask Jesus. Like at the same time, I understand those things work. They'll tell you like, oh, deal with it. What are you talking about? They just take the situation out of proportion, and it's just not comfortable. So I just kept it to myself. The only person I remember telling that I felt like I was gonna die was my brother. And then he said, you shouldn't think about it. And I'm like, I'm going through this. And then one time was in the guest room, and this time I felt like I was done. And it was so horrible, and all these things I was going through, I didn't tell my mom or my dad. So I was a very private part in my life. But one thing that saved me from this situation was change of environment. During that time, my parents, because of my stubbornness, my parents sent me back to Ghana. I'm from Ghana. I was born in Canada, but I'm from Ghana. They sent me back to Ghana, and I remember that the reason why I did go was because I was in a different environment, family around, my surrounding was more, there's a lot more people, so I didn't feel the same, where I didn't experience it at all. And for some reason, I did pray about it, and I was just wondering to myself, maybe all this was happening because of my environment. So the change of environment definitely helped. And I was so grateful that even though I was sent back home for being stubborn, but maybe that was the reason why I was still alive. And so I was grateful. I was so grateful that I ended up in Ghana. And I think over time, as the panic attacks stopped, I just remember just going on with life. Everything was back to normal. And also another thing I did was prayer. So the second episode, I went through 3 phases of this panic attack. The second episode was when I was back to Canada. I came back from Ghana probably a year into being back. And I remember I guess exams were going on or whatever it was during that time. I didn't sleep much. I was very drained. And I remember my mom used to complain a lot, saying that you don't sleep. What are you worried about? I'm like, I have exams. I was in high school at that time. So I remember I woke up one morning, I was taking a shower, and then all of a sudden in the shower, the attack happened. And this time it was crazy because it had been, how many years that I hadn't had a panic attack. I was 13, and this time I was 17. I think I was 17, 18 at this time. And this attack happening was crazy. It's like I really felt like I was gonna collapse in the shower. So I was showering, and all of a sudden I felt like I was gonna die. It's like I remember this. I remember it. I was showering, and I was about to I closed my eyes like this, and when I opened, the attack happened, and I'm like, whoa, where am I? Like I was hallucinating. And then all of a sudden I started crying onto my mom, saying, Mom, I'm gonna die. Mom, I'm gonna die. Mom, I'm gonna die. And she came to the washroom, and she's like, no, you need to start praying. And then I started praying, and then it calmed down. And then my mom was saying that like, oh, you're probably under so much pressure, probably under stress, you don't sleep, so these are the things that are going to cause these things to happen. And at that very moment, I didn't really think that was the reason why. I just thought like, maybe I'm just going through it. And then after that day, the second day, it happened again. And then it was getting really, really serious. These attacks kept on happening and happening for almost 3 weeks or more. It was continuous. And then I think 3 months later, I'm like, you know what? God, I'm gonna leave this into your hand. And then I went into a fasting mode. I started fasting. I remember I fasted for 3 days. And then while I was fasting, I remember I used to, in order for the attacks to stop, I didn't shower with hot water. I don't know, for some reason, each time I was showering and there was a lot of hot water, the attacks will happen. So then I noticed that if there's a lot of hot water vapor in the washroom, I would have attacks. So then I reduced my shower time. So I minimized my shower time, especially with hot water. And then what came to when I was praying, the third day when I fasted, and then I started like praying. All of a sudden I started worshiping, praying. And then once again, I'm not trying to impose my belief onto you. This is what my experience is. It's my story. So I'm sharing it to those. I'm not trying to tell you to choose my religion. Once again, this is my story. So I want to just let you know that you could be from any sort of religion, but if you have faith in the Creator, the one that created you, or whatever you believe in, you could be any sort, from any walk of life. This is my story and I'm sharing it to you so you know how I was able to cope with these panic attacks. So I remember on the third day I started praying and worshiping, and then it came to me on my heart that whenever these attacks happen, I should start singing or play music. So that was my way of coping it with the panic attacks, especially when I was taking a shower, or when I was in a room, or when it was quiet and these attacks happened. And so I started playing music, and music helped me through these attacks. And then I remember after the fasting, I told God I don't want to have to use music to aid myself. And then I remember just praying, and I'm like, God, please take these attacks away. And voila, the attacks went away and I was free. In 2013, the attacks came in a different form. It didn't come out as an out of body attack. No, it didn't come like, oh, maybe I'm like, not, this time the attacks came through pain. These are signs of panic attacks. So the choking feeling started to happen. Laying on my bed, just having a regular day, and all of a sudden I was also under pressure that year because I wanted to go back to Ghana. I wanted to go back and just live there for a long time. I didn't want to be in the country no more. So I was planning excessively. I was counting the days until I could go to Ghana. And then on, I believe in April, May, I'm not too sure, the attacks started to happen. So as I was laying on the bed, I remember it was just a regular day. It was like probably like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden I couldn't breathe, and I was like, it was like a choking feeling. I felt like I was choking. I felt like I was gonna die. And then all of a sudden I had to breathe, and I didn't even know that these were panic attacks. My heart was racing, pumping, and then I felt pain underneath my chest, and I was like, maybe I'm suffering from something. Maybe I have a disease. And then all I can remember was it was not comfortable. It was just very painful to go through this. And each time I went to go check with a doctor, he would say, there's nothing wrong with my chest. My chest is fine. Everything in my blood system is fine. And so I'm like, what's going on? And then I did my research, and these were signs of attacks. And I'm like, wow, like this is serious. Like these panic attacks are, as let me say, fear, or let me say whatever it was at that very moment, it was just taking full control. So I remember it going on for so long, to the point that this time, even when I went to Ghana for some time, what had happened was it continued for 2 months. During those 2 months, I remember one time at night, it was so bad to the point that my panic attacks were so bad to the point I can't sleep at night. So as I was in the room, like, sleeping, I woke up and the attacks were so bad. So I was watching a show I don't know what show. It was like a pastor preaching. I don't even remember who it was. And then all of a sudden, he's like, whatever problems you're going through, and it was like 2 a.m. in the morning, it was some random time, whatever problems you're going through, pray upon the heart and touch the place that hurts. And this part was my chest. I remember it was my chest. And then I'm like, okay, let me put my hand where the pastor asked, and then I put my hand underneath my chest, and he's like, keep pray and ask the Holy Spirit to take full control. And then I said the prayer, and all of a sudden it didn't happen like right away. Like, let's say 5 minutes later, then like a cold substance. I will never forget this, because it was that moment is where I realized that I don't play with the Creator. I do not play with the Word. And I do not play with anything we alter from my mouth. Put my hand there. I had faith. One thing you have to have is faith. If you have no faith, I don't think in anything you do, you could receive your blessing. Put my hand there, and then it came out as like a blue cold feeling. I don't know why I call it blue, but at that moment, that's how it felt. And slowly, I don't know what it was, it started to like calm down. It's like whatever fire that was burning underneath my chest cooled down, and it was like burnt out. And then from then, I never got panic attacks again. So I was shocked at that moment that just from a prayer and just from what the words I believed in, I was able to have peace, everlasting peace. And then from then, I've never experienced panic attacks ever. And it's been like, this was 2013, I was 23, and now I'm 27. And I'm very grateful to God that experience, that me believing in what I was saying had delivered me from the situation I was in. And I just want to let people know that you have to have faith in anything. And I'm not telling you to do what I do. That's why I'm not preaching. It's not all I'm just saying is I'm telling you my story, and however my story influences you, I just hope you realize that you're not alone and these attacks are real. I still to this day have, some worries, and I feel like God is still working on me, because worries turns into anxieties and fear. I still have days where I have to find ways of coping with life. But one thing I do realize is that God never fails. Like, it comes to the end where it's like the Creator never fails. And so I just believe that if you're going through these attacks, don't keep it private. One, try to express yourself to someone that you know is a genuine person that will help you get through this, walk with you. Because I also know a friend who was also going through these panic attacks, and I remember God was so good, to the point that whenever she would get the attack, she would come over, and then we will walk and pray about it. And I think it was, I don't want to talk because I don't want to cry, because I didn't know that the Creator can use me into helping someone get through such a strong part in their life, because I never had the experience of someone helping me through my panic attacks. And so I was able to help my friend through her panic attacks, and all glory to the Heavenly Father. She has no attacks no more, and even though I haven't spoken to her in a while, all I know is that very experience had never ever left me unbroken, because I believe that once you have faith, and during those times we were praying, walking, taking walks, making sure that we do everything we could at that very moment to make sure that she was getting better. So if you know anyone that's going through panic attacks, if you're going through all these things, anxiety, fear, you are not alone. Feel free to reach out, because these things are not, let me mention to you, physical only, but spiritual and mentally as well. So you have to understand that these things, they're not easy, and you shouldn't be going through this by yourself. and you shouldn't be shy, and you shouldn't be embarrassed to talk about these things, because you don't know, maybe you talking with people will get you through this and also help someone along the way. So I had to share this moment with you guys, and I hope you can share this with a friend who may be going through these things, or who may have been through these things. My end message to these people, or like my end message to you, is that you have to have faith, number one. Two, in these two situations that I did experience, I had change of environment. If you do need to travel, and that's why a lot of people don't know why I like to travel a lot, but it's all a part of it. Leave your surroundings, move. And if you don't have those funds, you have to take those hikes. Take those moments in your life where you take a break from where your environment is. I feel like change of environment helped me through those times twice. And the third one is powerful, inspirational music. Like, I was listening to a lot of gospel. I listened to some Kirk Franklin. I listened to a lot of musicians. I even listened to some of my old timers music, which is mostly played by my mom. When I was little, I used to listen to her gospel songs from Ghana, and those sounds helped me through this. And I believe all of these things got me through. There was one particular song, and it says, "He is the Lord. Is there anything too hard for him? He is the Lord. He has said it, and surely he will do. Hold on to your faith, your confessions of the days of your life, and you will see the hands of the Lord in your life. He can do it. He can do it. Do it better for you. Far more than you can think that he will never do." And that song was so dear to me. I honestly believed in every word in that song. And another thing that I also realized is that when I had these panic attacks, I would look, I got this tip from an online source that I was looking through, and it said, if you get these panic attacks, you should focus on an item. So I'll look at any item. Like, I'll look at, let's say, I don't know, let me say the bed, the pillow, and focus on the pillow, and then start to think straight. And that would also, like, I just have to focus on anything. It could be a pen, and I'll just focus on it, and then the anxieties will like come down. And those are the ones that got me through the most. Another important thing was I had to get my sleeping pattern on track. And yes, I got my sleeping pattern on track. So I had to honestly put aside everything and start sleeping better, and that honestly helped. It's not an overnight process. It won't happen overnight. You're not gonna get the results right away. Each person is different. Some people may have to go through this for a long period of time, or some people may be going through this for so many years. But one thing I do have to say is that you have to believe in the healing. You have to believe in the healing. Once you believe in the healing, you will get your breakthrough. So I'm asking that you guys hear my story and how I dealt with fear, anxiety. All I have to say is that don't worry about tomorrow. Worry about now. Be in the moment. Love life. Live the life. And you will get to where you have to get to. Thank you guys so much for watching Eve's Eye. If this is your first time, once again, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I will be posting and sharing more videos. My next topic that I'll be talking about is going to be personal as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. We're dealing with anxiety. My desire is for Jesus, to be more and more like you, Jesus. Each and every day, I lift my hands and pray. I want to be more like y'all. I don't know how to say it, but it's okay though. It's okay.